Hello, my name is Chinmaya Desai, and this is my case study presentation. My forensic case study is about the Fitbit murder case. The case is about a husband claiming an intruder broke into their home, tied him up to a chair, and shot his wife. The case detail and the discovery. The case details are some of the events which occurred as per the husband's statement to the police. A man received a cell phone alert that his house alarm has been activated on 23rd December while he was driving to work. He pulled up on his side of a road. He sends an email to his boss that he will be late at work. He then comes home at around 8:45 to 9 a.m. and he hears a loud noise from upstairs, and he spots an intruder. He describes the intruder as a 6'2" man with a stocky build, wearing a camouflage suit and a mask. He also stated that the intruder asked for his wallet, credit cards, and his PIN numbers. The intruder managed to tie him up to a folding chair. Meanwhile, the man hears his wife come home from gym and yells at her to run away. The intruder follows the wife to the basement and shot her with a .357 caliber stainless steel revolver. The man and the intruder tussle, and then the intruder runs away from the house. The man stated that even though he was tied up to the chair, he was still managed to activate the panic button from the house alarm system and call 911. The case investigation. For this investigation, multiple witnesses along with the husbands were interviewed. At 10:16 a.m. on 23rd December, Connecticut State Police received a phone call from an alarm company regarding a panic alert. The Tolan County Fire Services also received a phone call from the house owner at around 10:22 a.m. Witness 1, as per the arrest warrant, arrived at the house at around 10:30 from the Arlington Fire Department. As soon as he arrived at the house from the front door, which was unlocked, he saw blood drops and trail of blood which led him to the kitchen. Seeing the man lying on the floor with a metal chair tangled on him, he called the dispatch to update the state police about the incident may be a home invasion. Sergeant 1 arrived on the scene at around 10:34 a.m. along with the state police canine unit. Sergeant 1, along with his team, made sure the male victim was taken care by the medical staff. After that, the scene was processed by taking photographs. Canine units attempt to locate a scent trail twice, leaving the area for the intruder, which had a negative result. Sergeant 1, along with the other detectives, checked the basement, where they found .375 Magnum handgun owned and registered to the husband, along with the dead along with the dead woman. Seeing the crime scene, it was secured and the perimeter was established by the responding troopers and detectives. Once the residence was cleared and secured, the Eastern District Major Crime Squad was assigned responsibilities to investigate to investigate this crime. Detective suspicions grew when the canine unit twice did not pick up any intruder scent and there was no sign of forced entry. Detectives spoke to the husband and obtained a written statement from the husband detailing his recollection of the incident. The entire interview was digitally recorded, and when the detectives were interviewing the husband multiple times, his recollections continued to change. Also, during the interview, the husband provided with written consent to search a number of items, including his clothing, his phone, his residence, among few others. While investigating the case, the detectives also observed by reviewing the video surveillance from the YMCA, the gym which the wife attended, she was wearing the same clothing she wore on the video. Also, the detective verified the timestamp on the video, which was also accurate. After the man's description of the events that led to the murder, police obtained the search warrant at around 5:30 to process the scene and collect electronic evidences, which included cell phone records of the wife and the husband, computer records from the man's computer, Facebook records for the husband and his wife, text messages of the husband and the wife, a Fitbit from the wife, which was also recovered from her body. The computer forensic techniques which were used by the investigators, like after analyzing all the gathered evidence, the detective discovered contradiction claimed by the husband. On January 14, 2016, Verizon cellular phone records of the husbands were obtained and analyzed. Husband's iPhone was sent to the computer crime section of examination and extraction team, which observed the records that were text message between husband and another woman. Supposedly, uh, he was having an affair with another woman. There was a very interesting discovery found by the computer forensic experts, where the history of the text message was not at all stored in the phone itself or on the primary cell phone number. It was found that the phone number used by the husband to contact the woman where he's having an affair with was a Google Voice number. So all the text messages which were going back and forth were happening from the phone, but it was through a Google Voice number. The text message of the husband's iPhone also show by the examination report, where at 8:49, a husband received an alarm notification via text message to his iPhone and email, and the status of both showed as red. The examination report also found that the email sent to the husband's supervisor, which read, "Our phone alarm went off this morning," and I think as a procedural purpose, they will send up the police. So I got to go back to the house and see what's going on. That was sent on December the 23rd, 2015, the day her wife was shot. Her wife was shot at 9:04 from the husband's iPhone. So cell phone records showed the suspect was having an affair with another woman and discussing getting a divorce from his wife. Computer records showed the suspect logged onto the Microsoft Outlook from an IP address assigned to the internet at his house. Microsoft Surface tablet was seized from the kitchen and was sent to the computer crime section for examination and extraction. Upon examination of the device, it was found that on December 23rd, 2015, at around 9:20, the husband visits the YMCA's website and downloads the group exercise schedule which her which his wife was part of. Excuse me. So surveillance camera footage was also obtained by the detectives from YMCA, which showed her wife leaving the gym at 9:18 a.m. Locks from the alarm system also showed that the garage door was opened at around 9:23 a.m. Also on 1/4/16, which is January the 4th, 2016, 12 days after his wife's murder, he canceled the alarm system contract. During the body survey, it was found that the victim, the wife, was wearing a Fitbit on her wrist. The Fitbit registered stationary movements from 9:37 to 9:43. It registered the movement from 9:47 to 9:48. It was again stationary from 9:49 to 10:01. It was again there was some activity from 10:02 to 10:05, and after 10:05, which was the last registered movement from the wife's Fitbit, was there was no movement after that. Like it was stationary, completely stationary. So it shows that the Fitbit log also activity shows that at 9:23 a.m. to 9:23 p.m. Uh, from 9:18 a.m. to 9:23 a.m. there was inactivity as she was driving home from the gym. The Fitbit record shows the Fitbit recorded a distance of around 1,217 feet between the time she came home at 9:23 a.m. and when it stopped at around 10:05 a.m. Facebook data showed wife sharing a video on her page from 9:40 a.m. to 9:46 a.m. utilizing the IP addresses from the home internet. The Facebook records associated with the wife, the woman where the husband is having an affair, and the husband was examined from the time period of May 2015 through January of 2016. At around 10:11 a.m., the husband's key fob set a panic alarm which placed a call to the police by 10:16 a.m. Husband managed to call 911 at 10:20 a.m. The detectives raised more concerns when the defendant attempted to claim wife's $475,000 life insurance after her death. The detectives spoke to the representative at the Protective Life Insurance Company and confirmed that the husband had contacted them 5 days after the murder after the murder was reported of his wife. But the representative could not give any further details on an outgoing investigation. The most critical evidence is the data retrieved from the victim's Fitbit, which showed that her last movement was at 10:05 a.m., which is an hour after the time her husband claimed that the intruder shot her. Fitbit records also show that the victim moved a distance of around 1,200 feet inside the house, which is 10 times the distance from the car to the basement. The timeline explained in the previous slides, along with the resources the detectives gathered from examining the electronic devices and digital records, it tells a different version of the story on how the events might have taken place. Based on the above facts, an arrest warrant was issued and the husband was arrested. Challenges in the investigation. Victim's Fitbit is the key evidence as the device was tracking her activity up until her death. Validity, validity and reliability of the evidence remains a huge challenge with wearable devices, along with the legal, operational, and misuse of it. In the legal aspect, gathering of the evidence from the wearable devices in a new crime scene, sometimes the detectives or the police may not have the knowledge on, on how to collect, secure, and or transport or even store the digital data to make sure that the data is not compromised or lost. Also, not all law enforcement agencies have laboratories and certified forensic investigators to examine and analyze the data from available devices. It was also a big challenge to get the records from Microsoft, Facebook, Fitbit, Verizon, the cell phone carrier, and the internet service provider. In some cases, the detectives had to send in requests multiple times, and that took longer for the investigation to happen. So the duration increased exponentially. As in the operational side of it, it might be possible that the timestamp of the Fitbit, which is set, is not accurate, and hence the time of the events will not be accurate. So a correlations will not be formed in a digital evidence Also, the Fitbit's data depends upon the GPS for transmission and tracking. So if the signal is being blocked for some reason, like assuming the user or whoever is wearing the Fitbit is underground or in a in such weather conditions where there is no signal, then the data will not be collected and it will not be accurate. The most important is the misuse. It might be possible that more than one person can wear a Fitbit device, or in a family, it might be possible that husband and wife might be sharing a device. The data records from the Fitbit are accurate only if the user is wearing the device and using it properly. So the Fitbit is normally the Fitbit is supposed to be wore on a wrist. But if the Fitbit is wore on another part of the body, such as ankle, it will not produce consistent data, and there will be a lot of inconsistency. The result of the investigation, after a lengthy 1 year of investigation, in April of 2017, the suspect, in this case the husband, was charged with the murder and tampering with evidence. Currently, the defendant is out on $1 million bond, and as of 25th February 2020, uh, he faced a judge, and the jury selection will start in less than a week from now, as per what was reported by the WSB33 news channel. Uh, this is the video of the report, but somehow I am not able to play this video. Oh, wow. I am not able to play this video, or probably the link might have disappeared. I'll fix that video. Uh, Interesting facts. The timeline which the defendant gave as a statement did not match with the digital evidence showed. With all the digital evidence gathered and analyzed, Fitbit data logs, victim using Facebook, and suspect using his computer from home came out to be the crucial pieces of evidence. Few years ago, cell phone and computers was all police and investigators had to worry about. And now they have to worry about a lot of other devices, such as the wearable devices, Internet of Things, Amazon Alexa, Amazon Echo. In this case, the defense argued that the wearable devices like Fitbit are not scientifically valid. The defense also challenged the Facebook records and the home security system's information. But judge agreed with the prosecution and allowed all the evidences for the upcoming trial. While researching on this case, I also found other cases which have been successfully resolved by using wearable devices data logs, as a key piece of evidence. Lessons learned. In this age of time, 99% of the crimes we will have a digital component, especially IoT devices, which is Internet of Things, and wearable devices, as they are everywhere, even in our houses. Investigators need to up their knowledge and expertise in how to pull data and logs from these devices lawfully. It is also very important for law enforcement and investigators to have these devices included in the search warrant and have proper means to seize it without altering any data. New forensic analysis tools and techniques are also being developed in order to be able to process and analyze data from these devices. Concerning about privacy issues in IoT and wearable devices, I researched Fitbit's privacy issue, Fitbit's privacy policy, and I found out very interestingly that Fitbit will release their data, and it will it it quoted that it will release the data necessary to comply with law, regulation, or any valid legal process. But Fitbit and other companies could also challenge the subpoenas. And that could be a way for Fitbit and other companies to prove it's willing to stand up for the privacy for its users. As digital forensic investigator, one of the lessons which came out of this case is digital evidence does not mean mobile phones or computer. As in this case, the key piece of evidence came up from a wearable device and social media forensic. Evidence extracted from a wearable devices have not yet been used on a wide scale due to the arguments of regarding the reliability and accuracy of this device. Provided that the evidence is admissible in the court and it's been obtained with all legal formalities done, wearable devices should be considered as one of the sources for digital evidences that can be helpful in many legal cases going forward. This is the slide where I'll place my YouTube links, and these are the references for where I collected, researched upon the case. And the case is still in trial. I don't know what the situation will be right now because of the pandemic we are in. Because a few weeks ago, the suspect here in the case, the husband, faced the judge, and then the jury was being selected. So thank you all for thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and you have a wonderful day.